So guys, I am actually parked out front of the gym. I'm about to go and get my sweat on, but Gorilla just announced and revealed the brand new Horizon game, Hunter's Gathering or whatever. I had heard rumblings they were about to reveal it. I thought they were going to do like a state of play and then do it there, but no, they just kind of out of nowhere dropped a trailer for this. And I did check on Joel Raptor. He is okay. He hasn't totally keeled over in excitement, but it's very interesting what they're doing. It is what we expected. If you're not familiar, I'll have Jacob put B-roll up and stuff while we talk about this, but if you're not familiar, this has been in the works for years. They've been working on this for like 6 or 7 years at this point in varying degrees with different scales of teams working on it. But it's gone through a few different waves. The leaks from a few years back made it look very Sea of Thieves meets Fortnite, and I will be honest, the art style looks way better than I was expecting. The art style that we initially saw was much flatter, but of course that was work and development footage, and I'm sure when the leaks came out and the feedback to that wasn't great, they kind of energized it up a bit. And I think it looks way, way better than what we saw in the leaks. Maybe this was always the intention, maybe they kind of course corrected, I don't know, but either way, I think that artistically it looks interesting, specifically in the cinematics. The gameplay sections they showed, I think were less compelling to me, but time will tell with that. What really stood out to me though is that this is something where you're going to be, of course, based around heroes, and those heroes are going to unlock more with additional seasons, of course. They also have 4 starting maps that they're bringing to the game, and it's not crystal clear what exactly this plays like. Like, is it the way that we were kind of guesstimating it was that it's very Monster Hunter, but they're describing this as much more tactical. So I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more about grinding resources for upgrades, like with perhaps even more extraction game elements put into it. I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure what this game even really is. I will be honest, like looking at it, just going off my gut check, I don't see this as being like a massive thing. I think it's a niche enough idea that you could find a community of players that are willing to put time into it and play it. I don't think this like replaces a Fortnite or Arc Raiders or something, but I don't think that's what they're, hopefully, I hope that's not what they're expecting. The other like standout thing is that they are asking for player involvement right now. Like, they're asking for people to sign up for playtests, to sign up for participation in all of their like final polishing phases of the game, which I think is a really good thing to do. I think it was one of the big lessons they learned from Concord was shadow dropping is great if the game gets really lucky and pops off and is exactly what the market needed in that moment. Like, that's great. When it's the perfect scenario, shadow dropping is great. But if the game is not the perfect fit for the market at that exact moment and it's not novel and going to be eye-catching, shadow dropping is just a bad idea. Even like lightly lit dropping is probably a bad idea, like we saw with Highguard, where they revealed it but then they just kind of never elaborated and it left people really confused. With this, they're going to give people the chance to play it and provide feedback and actually come back and tell them what needs to change and what they should be adjusting, which I think is a better approach. It allows them to actually build the game out into exactly what people expect it to be. So after seeing it revealed, I think, artistically, I think it looks solid. In terms of the game itself, I don't really understand what the X factor is here. What's going to make it really explode. I'm genuinely not sure. I'm willing to be convinced. I mean, Guerrilla, they know what they're doing. It's a very capable team. I don't know, man. I've been skeptical of the project since I heard it was greenlit. It very much seems like a Jim Ryan type of project where it's, well, we have Horizon. People like Horizon. Horizon sells well. Make a live service game and pour hundreds of millions of dollars into it and we will be rich. Like, it seems like one of those ideas. And I think the tricky thing for them at this point is just that they've spent so much time on it, and God knows the budget has to be insane by now, that it's going to be a real uphill battle, I think, to turn a profit on it. But I think they're doing everything right as far as I can tell. Getting player feedback, inviting them in for playtests will help. Right now, they're only going to be doing playtests with the 3 of the playable characters. It seems like they each have different play styles. They each probably have different like health pools and different armors and different weapons available to them and stuff like that, which I think is going to help the characters feel unique and different. And I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try it myself. I am genuinely hoping to be blown away. Yeah, like, people think that YouTubers get off on games doing poorly. It's like, no, it's just maybe some do, but for me, I genuinely would like to have more awesome games to play with my friends. Like, shocker, I would love to have more awesome games, but I'm not going to tell you a game looks amazing or is a new breed of something if I don't genuinely think that. And in this case, I think Guerrilla is very capable. I still don't really understand what this game is going to be like from moment to moment, and that's what the playtests are going to be for. But seeing that this is the next big project for Guerrilla is kind of crazy, because it's very different from what they do. But one thing that also stood out to me that I thought was very interesting, the head of Guerrilla, when he introduced the game, you know what he started with? He started the whole thing with, "We love making single player games and we still are going to do that."
Before we dive in, I want to be very clear about one thing. We absolutely love making single player games, and we're going to keep making them. They're a huge part of who we are as a studio. But next to that, we also had this long-standing dream to try to do something different. Our own take on how you can explore the world of Horizon together as a team of machine hunters. It's something new, it stands on its own, but it's also still very much Horizon.
That's pretty, I think that was a very clear intentional thing, because they've seen so many companies and studios, like Rocksteady probably is the prime example, that came out and were like, hey, yes, we made the Arkham series, but guess what? We're doing a live service looter shooter, and their whole fan base was immediately turned off. And like, not even turned off, they were angry. They were like actually upset. And I think it's because it represented not just a game they didn't want, but it represented the death of the things they wanted, the things they actually liked, which was like the Arkham series. So for him to come out and say very clearly and directly, we're still going to be doing that, I think is, again, a direct response to that, because I think they know that a lot of their core audience and fan base is going to look at this and be like, no, I want a narrative game. Like, that's what Horizon's been built up around. And so inevitably there's going to be a little bit of pushback. And that's the piece of the puzzle that I think Jim Ryan never really considered and Herman Hulst never really appreciated, which is that, yes, you can take a franchise that people know and love, like Horizon, lots of people love Horizon, and you can build it out into a live service game with a new game modes and stuff. But if the core fan base, the original players, didn't like live service games, if they wanted single player narrative games, they are not going to be moving over to the live service game just because it shares a logo or a franchise title with something they do like. Players are different, and if they like single player games, they probably do not like the live service games, at least anywhere near as much as you need them to. So it's very interesting. I'm genuinely fascinated by this. I'm genuinely interested in seeing how this works out, if it actually does work out where players come out and try it. Like, obviously people like myself or Joel Raptor are going to try it because we've played Horizon and we cover all this stuff, but I'm wondering about the more casual gamer who plays Horizon because it's a really cool game for like pushing your PS5 to the limits. Are they going to boot into this? Are they going to give it a shot? I don't know. I'm genuinely interested. We'll see over the course of the day where the discourse goes, what people think of it. My guess is the feedback's going to be pretty negative, because I think the average gamer doesn't know that this was in the works. For me and you guys follow me and Jor, and we've been talking about this for literal years at this point. So for us, it's not a surprise. We saw this coming a mile away. It's been rumored and leaked out the ass for years. But for the average player who just knows Horizon as Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, I think this is going to come as a surprise. And I'm guessing they probably don't react too well to it, but time will tell. As of right now, their Twitter page, I got on, I started recording this video the second the news dropped, because I parked, I checked my phone, and like 30 seconds before this dropped, I watched the gameplay trailer thing that they had, and then I started recording, and I've got my class in like 3 minutes, so I'm gonna go do that. But crazy that they're choosing to do it this way. I thought for sure they would wait and reveal it at a state of play or something, but they're not, which makes me wonder what's gonna be at the state of play. Like, if they didn't think that this was something that they could capstone the state of play with, what do they actually have? I wonder. I do think a lot of companies are starting to be very cautious with overhyping, and I think they understand that putting your game in a certain slot at a certain show brings with it certain expectations for that, and sometimes that expectation can actually hurt the game in the long run, because expectations get too high, and when you don't live up to them, people get frustrated and don't like it. So let me know what you think of it. Jacob will have put all of the gameplay footage and stuff sprinkled in here. Obviously I can't do that on my phone, but let me know what you think in the comments. I'm interested. Again, I think the reaction is going to be pretty negative because a lot of people just don't know about this, but I think given what we saw in the leaks, which was basically Fortnite meets Sea of Thieves character designs, I think this looks way better than that. But the game itself, I don't really understand what this is, and time will tell. But maybe we'll do playtests and we'll get the chance to try it soon. I'm not sure. We'll probably hear a lot more details about what the game actually is, and when we hop on stream we can go through those, but this is just like an instantaneous reaction to what they dropped. So let me know what you think. I'm gonna go work out and hyperventilate. Okay, much love, see you soon, bye.
Took my thing.